welcome back now. Our Simon Delaney made an appearance on the cobbles of Coronation Street
if
last
you blinked,
night.
you missed
in
it.
case, no, the full first episode was hung on that storyline. And we were all feeling a bit left out today, apparently.
So this morning we're tasting the classic English beer that is bitter, just like they serve up in the Rovers.
Very good. I didn't know you could do Welsh accents. British Sommelier and His Eminence Dean McGuinness, Jenna Fleck, has brought along 3 versions of the beer. Let's see if they live up to the standard of the Rovers.
Morning, Dean.
Good morning.
Dean.
Hi, Dean.
What is a bitter, first of all?
Right, well, a bitter is a style that has become one of the most popular craft beer styles in the US. It's a style that's popularised by an organisation called the Campaign for Real Ale. And they work very hard to make sure that cask-conditioned beer, which is the traditional style of beer in England, has been maintained as a part of beer culture. It's a pale ale. Now, when we say pale ale, people think golden, but in historical terms, it would have been something less dark than a brown or a black beer, so something going from kind of amber to nut brown.
See, when I hear bitter, I automatically think of stout. Like, I do. I'm not a stout drinker now.
Okay.
Oh, are you going to sway my mind here?
Well, what you've got with stout, you'll have a lot more colour, and the flavour that will come with that darker colour is kind of roast, sometimes acrid flavours. With this, you get
acrid. Always something you want to hear when you're about to taste something.
With bitter, again, the name is a little bit confusing. It's not as bitter as you would think. Historically, it would have been much more bitter. Now they can range between a little bit bitter, definitely hoppy, and a bit more malty. And that malty can bring biscuit, caramel, sometimes a little bit of honey.
Where are we starting then?
We're with Wooltop Bitter. So this is from a brewery called Wooltop Brewery in Yorkshire.
Wooltop Brewery in Yorkshire.
So it's a sort of a gentle enough taste or an introduction to bitters if you haven't been a fan before?
Yeah, what you've got with bitters, there are kind of 3 levels of bitters. You've got ordinary bitter, best bitter, and extra special bitter.
Oh.
So this one is the 3.2 to 3.8% ABV.
That's quite the mild one.
That would be lower in ABV, and they've built a good bit of flavour into it, but it's
packs a punch.
lower.
It does.
What do you think, Anna?
I like it. I think it's very smooth, I really like it.
Yep, you've got a little bit of a stone fruit flavour, bit of caramel, biscuit, digestive biscuit flavour in it, and then the aroma is a bit herbal, earthy, and that's a classic English hop aroma.
And strength, are these?
This one is 3.8, 3.7, 3.8%.
Okay.
And price on them, Dean?
You're looking at $2.79 for the Wooltop Bitter.
Wooltop Bitter.
So the next one we have is sort of an iconic.
It is, yeah. This is a brewery that was set up in Massam in Yorkshire. The family behind the brewery are the Theakstons, and they had another brewery in Yorkshire which was taken over by Heineken. 5 of the members of the family agreed to the sellout to Heineken, and 1 disagreed with it.
Bet you it was Jamie.
Jamie Theakston.
Yeah, he said, I'm not having that. I gave it.
Speaks like that.
I haven't a clue. Anyway, carry on, Dean, sorry.
So this is Black Sheep Ale.
Black Sheep, yeah. Paul Theakston, the black sheep of the family, bought the other brewery in his hometown and set up a brewery in direct competition with his family brewery, which had been taken over by Heineken.
And it's stronger than the last one.
It's a step up. We're at 4.4%, so this would fall into what they call the best bitter category.
Now, to my uneducated nose, there's not much of a difference between that and the first one on the
They would have a bit of comparable flavours because they're all from the same style.
It's lovely.
Are you sure? You all right?
It's got her head
In
already.
a dark room in a face, lad, please. Are you okay? Do you like it?
Finally, yeah. No, it's lovely taste.
Look at her face!
She's not a fan of
We
it.
have a bit of
Have a
work.
taste, I'm afraid
We
of
have to
me,
work on you. Yeah, we'll develop
What
it.
should we be
over
getting
time.
from this?
Again, you're looking at similar malts, so that kind of caramel, digestive biscuit malt notes. The fact that it's an ale means that you can get some fruity flavours in it, and that starts out as a kind of a mandarin orange fruit flavour, slightly sweet orange, and then it develops into the finish into a kind of a tangerine nectarine type flavour, and that's balanced out with a dry bitterness. So just at the back of your tongue, you'll find after you finish it that it just develops a little bit of flavour.
Is it a little bit stronger, or is it?
It's 4.4%, so that would be in line with what you'd be used to in Ireland. 4.3 would be the norm in Ireland.
Right, and last but by very no means least.
Now,
Laura
this one-
can't wait for this one.
Slightly a bit more unusual insofar as it is a beer brewed with non-traditional ingredients. It is a gluten-free pale ale.
And is there a demand for that now, Dean?
There is. We have a very high level of celiac disease in Ireland, but aside from that, we also have a lot of people who choose to go for a gluten-free diet just for lifestyle reasons. So there's been a lot of talk about gluten in diets. The standard for gluten-free is that the beer needs to have less than 20 parts per million of gluten, which is a tiny amount, basically.
Like a trace almost.
And who is the brewery, or what's the beer called?
It's from Hambleton Ales, and it's called GFA, which stands for gluten-free ale. So,
of course it is.
Very simple. And again, similar style. The sorghum gives a little bit of a tangy flavour to it, but again, in a comparable flavour profile to the other beers, they would be similar because they belong to the same style, and you would have similar flavours coming through.
Now I get a difference. The first two to me were slightly similar, but that's very different.
Very different, and not quite as carbonated or as sparkly.
There's a bit of a tang to that, and what that is it's the different grains that they're using. So normally they use malted barley in beer. With malted barley, it brings a lot of gluten with it. So what they've done is they've used sorghum as an alternative, so that the gluten is much less.
Does that
in
affect
beer.
the strength on it? Is it similar to?
The fact that they're using sorghum doesn't affect the strength, but it is a slightly higher strength. It's 4.8% for it, so it goes up into the ESB or the strong bitter category.
It's very smooth, but if you were to drink that all evening, it's not very heavy on the stomach.
And what you've got with these now, obviously they're all bottled beers. In the UK, people would talk about beer being served warm, and the reason for that is it would be cask conditioned. So the finish of the development of the flavours in the beer would happen in the cellar. The cask would be a live beer, and over 3 to 4 days in the cellar, it would develop more flavours and then be pulled up through the classic beer engine handle that you'd see in the Rovers Return.
Oh, and education as always. Your Eminence, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you all those years in Corrie. Thanks very much, Dean.